Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Missy, and I know I say this in almost every single video, but I am legit so concerned. There's this trend all over TikTok where people are essentially trying to get things off their chest. At least that's how I interpret it. And those things are things that they don't really need to be getting off their chest on a social media app. Maybe just talk to a therapist because please tell me, what is this?
This one is for all you Uncle Toms defending this trend. Let's take a look at this. Things I am not afraid to admit as a black woman. I sure hope this is a lighthearted joke or constructive criticism about our community and not an anti-black rant done by a black person. Let's go check it out. Wow! Surprise, surprise. Sadly, there's nowhere to move my big ass head for you guys to see all this, so I'm a duck and you can read this. In my 19 years of life, I have never seen this amount of self-hatred. She refuses to be friends with black or even mixed people. Down here, she's gonna stick to her wonderful Korean boyfriend. So let me get this straight. You would not be friends with a mixed person, yet you're going to bring a mixed child into this world. What? And everybody was calling me crazy for calling this trend insane. At first, this was so bad, I thought this girl was joking, but she was going to war in the comments. They're a bunch of aggressive mean muggers, but I'm different. I'm one of the good ones.
Like, any TikTok using the sound is either hilarious or extremely out of pocket or both. So today I just wanted to kind of focus on this trend and just talk about it. Like, where is it coming from? Why is it so popular? And even some of the problems associated with it. Because I've been noticing that it's come to a point where this trend is actually causing division and it's just not productive in some ways. I think this trend speaks volumes about where we are at as a society when it comes to social media, because it's like we either understand the pending virality of these posts and the possibility of criticism, which leads us to shy away from sharing certain things, or we understand how small we are in comparison to the millions on social media, which gives us this sense of anonymity or invincibility that leads us to say and do things that we would never dream of doing or saying if we were not behind a screen. Like, besides the "as a blank, I'm not afraid to admit this" caption, there's also the "social media isn't real, so here's something I'm not afraid to admit" caption. And that kind of contributes to the latter part of what I previously mentioned. People understand that social media is a series of highlight reels and that many of what we see isn't the true reality. People also understand that the idea of relatability has had a greater value placed on it in recent times, and this may lead to a feeling of freedom or even empowerment in being more authentic when it comes to the things you share on your platform. In other words, people aren't afraid to be themselves because that has been praised a lot in the last few years. Not only that, saying what is unpopular to say out loud, but is also simultaneously on a large group of people's minds, has actually had a positive effect for many creators, so that might be a motivator for people to take part in this trend. Everyone wants a piece of the social media pie, and this is a proven way to get there. This willingness to say what other people are thinking but won't say out loud. And many times, the reason why people are afraid to share their unpopular opinions is because of the offensive tone they often tend to take. And people are very much aware of how offensive and problematic their opinions are.
Also, stop hiring black people to make Mexican food. Would you trust a white person to make you Chinese food? And this is not at like a Panda Express, but an authentic Chinese restaurant. Would you want a white person making your General Tso's chicken? I don't think so. I don't want a black person making my Mexican food. Never. So, in any home-style authentic restaurant, would you want a Mexican cooking you fried chicken, or making your Kool-Aid at a black restaurant? No, you wouldn't.
Look at all the alpha male podcasts that started popping up out of nowhere during the pandemic and onwards. We all realize how out of pocket some of the opinions shared by Just Pearly Things and Fresh and Fit were, but they did have a platform still, right? People still supported them, right? The point is, they were saying things that many, might I say, vile people, but people nonetheless were thinking, and that is why they were able to monetize their platforms and gain a considerable amount of success, even though it might not have had the longevity that they were probably seeking. But I think that is just a side effect of being such hateful, mean, misogynistic people but that's for another video. I'd like to argue though that the same way that Just Pretty Things was kind of willing to sell women out while she herself is a woman and really couldn't follow her own damn rules. I mean, we see all of those TikToks of people talking about how Just Pretty Things will have a hard time finding a man who is willing to marry her because she in fact is masculine when she's out here calling other women masculine and trying to tell other women how to live their lives in order for them to be a good partner in a relationship. It's just hilarious how there are men on TikTok talking about how she's gonna have a hard time getting married.
Do you know why Pearl is available? Because even though she says the right things that men resonate with, she's masculine as hell. Men like feminine women. Pearl is an advocate for what men want, but she's not what men want. Feminine women do not go online and sit on podcasts and argue with men all day long. That is not what men want. Ideally, men would have someone that's very laid back, chill, feminine, helps out where she can around the house and, isn't like a pain in the ass. And I know you guys are going to be like, well, just hire a maid. Are you guys really saying that a woman's love can be replaced by a maid? Partnership in the home is desirable, where both people help out around the house. I've been kind of messing around a little bit on here with some of my satire and stuff, but real talk, I believe both people should do both things around the home. Fully. Like, there's no reason not to. I can joke and say, yeah, I'll cook, you do the dishes, but even then, that's 50-50, no? I mean, you could argue cooking's more effort. I'll forget, I was raised by a single mother. I was doing everything around the house. She taught me how to cook, how to clean, how to do dishes, how to do laundry. I'm just saying, I do all that stuff now for myself, no problem. But ideally, in a partnership, I would have help with those things. I'm not just going to take care of someone fully. I'm not going to pay for everything and take care of everything around the home. But back to Pearl. She definitely understands what men want, but she's just masculine as hell. She really, and everything that she does, she's very masculine. She will probably find someone that's great for her, but you guys are like, why not pick her? Because we couldn't marry someone that's like that and argumentative and fighting.
The tea is hot. But in this same way that we see how Just Pretty Things was spewing a bunch of BS on the internet and couldn't even follow her own rules, we see people selling out their own people as well through this trend and kind of wearing it like a badge of honor. Me personally, I'm black, so I see more black people on my TikTok and the opinions some of us are sharing. I don't know. I know I'm not the only one who thinks these opinions and these TikToks are setting us back like 400 years. I don't want to say we should have sat this one out because, of course, we should be able to share opinions about our own race even when they're negative. But the way y'all are going about this, yeah, I'm gonna say it. Maybe we should have sat this one out. A lot of the opinions I see are not only negative, but they're just not productive in the slightest bit to the point where I can't tell if I'm genuinely viewing satire. Like this one right here. This definitely has to be satire, right? If not, this is a perfect example of this trend being taken too far. And if it is satire, I think we need to make satire a little bit more obvious because this is obviously a sickening way to think.
I'm a black man, and I'm not afraid to admit that I can't stand some of you melon munching, fried chicken eating, Popeye's chicken, KFC munching, Jordan wearing several baby mamas having 5 baby daddies, can't find your father, went to go get milk. Monkeys, I just can't stand y'all.
I don't want to forget to say that while this trend did bring up some hilarious TikToks and some out-of-pocket opinions, there were also some very relatable things posted over the past few weeks due to this trend. People are using the social media isn't real caption specifically, which I feel like is like a branch of this trend. It's like it came from this trend or vice versa. And they're using this social media isn't real caption specifically to let people know about hardships that they faced or battles that they're dealing with presently, along with the message that we all go through things and we don't always have to have this facade on social media. And I think TikToks like this were really dope because they had a positive impact and were actually productive. And I'm gonna take a minute to show a few of those TikToks.
Now all my friends are wasted, and I hate this club, man. I drink too much. Another Friday night I wasted. head. My eyes are
So y'all know that trend where it says social media isn't real, so here's 5 things I'm ashamed of. Well, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna talk to you instead because I feel like that would be better. Except it recently hit me that I should not be ashamed about these things, you know? I got out of the military 6 months ago, and I moved in with my brother out here in Ohio. And after being on my own for 4 years, that's been a bit of a thing in my head, you know? And also I'm living in the basement and like building a room while I'm living in it, you know? So like that has been something I've had to overcome mentally, you know? Number 2, my car is an actual piece of shit and is falling apart. I'm surprised I even got to the gym today, honestly. This thing's about to die. I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, but I don't take medication for it because I don't like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel like very numb. It causes like severe sexual side effects, which I'm not sexually active, so that doesn't really matter. But just like in general, you know, I just don't like the way it makes me feel. So I do still have those struggles, and it's very difficult to navigate that some days. Like fucking just last week, I was like struggling to get out of bed, you know, like this shit happens. 4, I'm a pretty confident person, and I always appear confident, but I doubt myself a lot, and I have like I'm really hard on myself, and I always feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. And with the exception of my family here in Ohio, I have 0 friends here, like none. Like I don't, and that sucks.
But anyway, I really want to know what you guys think about this trend and if you've been bombarded with this content the same way that I have. Did you see any TikToks that were just downright unacceptable? Leave all your opinions in the comments down below. I can't wait to read them. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you feel like it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!